there! I'm Connor, I'm Off the Cuff, and today I am talking to you about Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is the latest offering from writer-director Terrence Malick. It stars Christian Bale, Cate Blanchett, Brian Dennehy, Wes Bentley, Natalie Portman, and a bunch of other people who have like one line and are in one scene of the movie, like Frida Pinto. It's about a screenwriter played by Christian Bale who is having an existential personal crisis, and it's affecting his life, I guess. There's a lot of moping, a lot of long, dour monologues and voiceover, and this movie doesn't really have a story. This movie doesn't have characters, and it doesn't really have much of a plot. This isn't a conventional movie. I should just right off the bat say this is not by any means a conventional movie. This is an art house movie, and I think you have to understand how Terrence Malick went about making this movie. I should probably say the first Terrence Malick film I've seen. I've not seen Badlands, The Thin Red Line, Days of Heaven, Tree of Life. I've not seen any of those movies. This is my first time watching it, and I understand that this and To the Wonder, which was his last movie that he made in 2013, that he did not have a script when making this movie. What happened was Terrence Malick got Emmanuel Lubezki, 3-time Academy Award-winning cinematographer who he's collaborated with a lot. He got these actors, and what they did was they went out in LA and they just filmed stuff. They went to all the locations, filmed people doing things, had spontaneous interactions, and what they did was they collected all of the footage, had music, and then tried to find the story in post. And I think that's interesting. I think that's a very interesting conceit and premise for a movie. I like that, and I'd like to see other people do that, because I think that's a very bold and kind of progressive way of making movies, and it's a premise that really does intrigue me. But I'd like to see it done successfully, because unfortunately I don't think it is handled very successfully in this movie. Because ultimately, and I should probably say, this has a writer credit to Terrence Malick. So what happens is they would assemble all the footage, find the story in there somewhere, find the feeling, I should probably say. Because there isn't a story, there's a feeling and an emotional response that I think Terrence Malick was trying to purge from inside. He has these ponderings, he has these feelings he wants to get out. And what he would do is he would then find the things that evoked that emotion inside of him, and he would write out monologues and give them to Christian Bale and Brian Dennehy and other actors to record those monologues, so he could play it over these images and these sounds. This movie does have a dreamlike quality to it. It does feel like I'm watching a series of dreams. This movie is kind of arbitrarily divided up into multiple chapters. I don't know why it was done that way, but that did kind of, I guess that's what making me feel like I watched a series of dreams. The reason this movie I don't think was very successful was because despite the gorgeous imagery, despite the very naturalistic performances, despite how it did make me think, it did make me feel. The thing is, I feel like this movie is a long conversation, a one-sided conversation that Terrence Malick is trying to, he's talking to you through this movie. It's a very personal feeling. He's trying to, talk about his feelings, I feel. And I appreciate that, I respect that, and I do have an admiration for this film and for Terrence Malick. The problem is, when you have a conversation with somebody and they're just kind of making the same point over and over and over again, and you kind of get the point, and then you kind of end the conversation because there's nothing really that needs to be said any longer. Yeah, the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I think Terrence Malick is just saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, and I got the point, and it just kept doing the same thing, and it honestly got me very bored, because there was nothing else to it other than emotional responses and ponderings, and when somebody's kind of pondering the same thing over and over again, I got the point, I'm done. So I also think that ultimately the framing device and these characters, they don't mean anything. So when, I guess at the end, for some reason, these characters do try to like say things and overcome conflict in these things, they didn't have any character. They didn't have any... This framing work is just here for Terrence Malick to talk through. So when these things try to take life on their own, it's not earned. So I'm going to give Knight of Cups a 6 out of 10. It's bold filmmaking. It's experimental filmmaking. I have an admiration for this film. I didn't like this movie. I would not recommend this movie. But it's not a bad film, I don't think. I know I saw this with somebody who did think it was a bad film. I know a lot of people do think this is a bad movie. And I understand where they're coming from. But I am glad I saw this movie. It's something different, and I think you can actually have a conversation about filmmaking. Even if it wasn't successful, you can have a discussion about art when talking about this movie. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and until next time, I'm Connor. Bye.